Today I want to talk about how you're not traumatized, you're probably just hurt. There's a disturbing trend lately where psychobabble in the zeitgeist has been distorted, twisted, and sometimes even weaponized. This has given the people the idea that they can prioritize selfish, uncommunicative behavior under the guise of self-care, misuse psychological concepts like trauma and abuse, and diagnose others who have hurt them in order to dismiss their own pain. Now, terms like gaslighting and attachment and emotional labor have bled into the social lexicon, giving people everywhere permission to cut out the toxic people at the slightest hint of discomfort, conflict, or disagreement. People are literally slinging armchair diagnoses of narcissism, PTSD, or sociopathy around like they're an Oprah-themed popped open piñata, right? You get a diagnosis, you get a diagnosis. And though this trend has its upsides, it encourages people to get help, it gives them the tools to recognize patterns that aren't working for them, it provides language to more accurately communicate their feelings. It also has a really stark downside, which is that this blunted lens has warped our view of relationships. We're not seeing them as nuanced and complex dynamics that require an ongoing dialogue, but as a one-way transaction. There has been so much rhetoric online lately that encourages disconnection over communication, or language that insists your needs be placed above all else. And this kind of black and white thinking completely ignores that we live in a messy world, and sometimes our relationships will require compromise. I don't think you can go into any interpersonal dynamic expecting that your needs are going to be met 100% of the time. That's just not realistic. And because there's so much Instagram therapy going around, I want to clarify my personal philosophy of what I believe our approach should be. So I think you should put your own needs above other people's wants, but put other people's needs over your wants. I think putting other people's needs over your own needs is at times necessary, and it's also a very kind, loving sacrifice to make. However, putting your needs over other people's needs is also sometimes necessary and a kind, loving, protective thing to do. And this dance of deciding whose needs take priority, this is a case-by-case basis that should be balanced based on your best judgment. Look, boundaries are meant to keep people in, not out. Being unclear is unkind, so communicate your feelings instead of avoiding conflict. And being triggered, look, that's actually a gift to see what you need to work on, not a way to censor other people. Yes, we should all be very considerate, but if you're seeing triggers more in terms of censoring others rather than an opportunity for self-exploration, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. All of these tools are meant to help us navigate relationship dynamics. They're meant to help us repair inevitable ruptures. They're meant to protect our ability to remain engaged. But if you're using therapy speak as an excuse to ice people out, diagnose someone post-mortem your relationship, or set rules for another person's behavior, you are misusing them in an attempt to justify your own victim mentality, insecurity, or ego. We can't cherry pick our popular therapeutic concepts to support whatever our current state of mind is, because when we do, we're really just dismissing our own feelings. So if you say, he is such a narcissist, to lay blame on someone else, you're probably really avoiding, I feel abandoned and discarded. If you say, I'm setting a boundary, when you're really stonewalling, you're probably just avoiding, I feel unloved, and a vulnerable conversation. If you say, she's so toxic, when you've never communicated how you felt, you're really just avoiding, I feel hurt by this person. And to say, he's gaslighting me, when he's just disagreeing or having a different memory of events, you're probably just really avoiding, I don't feel heard. It's very possible to accept that a person has inflicted emotional pain without pathologizing their actions. And often, when I hear people invoke therapy speak, especially outside of a professional setting, there's usually very little accountability and self-reflection going on. And I also don't think we should minimize the experience of people who actually deal with narcissistic personality disorder, abuse, or gaslighting by throwing around these terms. Instead, identify your emotions. Take the space to adequately describe them without using pop psychology or emotional shorthand, and validate your own experience. Because what we're feeling is real. It just may not actually be trauma. Trauma is usually pretty severe. Trauma is when you're in a mass shooting, or you're being physically abused, or you witness suicide. What we are experiencing instead, it may just be stressful. And that's a good thing. Why would you want to be traumatized, right? If what we're going through is just stress, we don't need to bolster our language to elevate our experience by invoking the higher authority of therapy speak. What we're experiencing is valid and legitimate, even when what we're experiencing is just hurt. I'm Anna Akana. Thank you to the patrons who supported today's video, and as always, thank you to my biological father, my daddy, my big D, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video. Guys, if you aren't familiar with my big D yet, I don't know where you've been, but Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to build a gorgeous website, sell your products, and engage your audience. If you're like me and you don't know anything about how to code, Squarespace is great because they have these beautiful professional website templates that you use as a starting point, and then you can customize them to fit your specific brand and aesthetic. It looks really sophisticated, but on the back end, it's just drag and drop, and it's very easy and intuitive to build, and just as easy to keep updated. You can also create an online store and sell custom merch. So for me, that's my online guidebook and how I do my inner work and accomplish my goals, AnnaAkana.shop. But for you, that may look like physical products, services, or classes. Whatever it is, this creator economy is booming, baby, and we are all here to make money doing what we're passionate about. You can go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and whenever you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Anna and use code Anna for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.